So if you like something, it lets me know if you're enjoying the piece, that you're like, yeah, that sticks in my head, or I resonate with that. I'll read one more piece for you. It's called Orange Peel. This one I wrote during lockdown in the height of the Black Lives Matter movement. And yeah, it goes like this. I opened my eyes to injustice at the tender age of 4, wrapped in cotton wool and for the world to adore, but the world rejected, refused to accept, infected minds of hate and the ability to relate. I adapted, climaxed to an anti-climactic applause. So I turned to the universe, sent out a message in a bottle and asked for my future to be bright. Full of insight, delight, despite adversity, I was determined to speak on the discomfort of many. Cold sweats and night terrors increased in severity as the world was gripped with brutality and austerity. No longer my imaginary friends and foes, but the reality of my mind's desperate highs and lows, forced into feeling. With no time for healing, I cried for a system unconscious and biased, laced with lies of the victories in riots. Today will be revolutionary, substitutionary of untelevised crypto-catechismic bribes. Today, this system dies. Marching and chanting, no longer romanticizing this war, no longer ignoring but inhabiting our system's flaws but breaking the ceilings, and kneeling for the deserving, educating, recounting, retelling and learning. And at the tender age of 22, the world is still burning. But the smoke is blowing in a different direction. In the face of systematic oppression, this is not a trend, nor a minute of silence. This is my ancestors screaming in a symphony to acknowledge the violence. This isn't a story with universal themes. This is the reality of many who recount shattered dreams, and we must turn that smoke into orange peel, to open and reveal segments that appeal. This is a movement, not a moment. So let's grab our future and show the next generation that we own it. This isn't about symbolism or rituals. This is about analysing our governments and convicting them as criminals. Earth-shattering silences will be reduced to a minimal as the underrepresented and disrespected are televised in visuals, no longer in vigils. Our crescendo is coming. Once legato, now staccato, fast-moving, generational trauma soothing. Tomorrow morning will be new, because we are the generation that demand it to.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Mia? Cartography.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. This piece is called The Cartography of His Face. And yeah, I think it's pretty obvious what it's about. It's I wrote this during the Me Too movement, and yeah, it's really important and it really needs to be spoken about more, but yeah, this is what it goes like. The cartography of his face was uncomfortable. Maps upon roads, upon rivers, upon streams. With all of my 6 senses I can hear women's screams. The maps of women claimed by name. The rivers of women blamed by name. Motorways and other ways they mispronounced their names. Roundabouts and roundabout ways that they could have prevented the shame. 1. Show a little less skin. 2. Being a little less loud. 3. Cried a little softer. 4. Being a little nicer. 5. You could have just told him to stop. This fire, wild and unruly, burned everything in sight before I could scream loud enough to tell it to stop. The police made excuses. Before I could drop my knees buckled at every sentence spoken to me, and before I could roll away, the fire had spread beyond my eyeline. Out of sight, yet the smell of ash still hits me when I'm about to fall asleep. Always our fault that the cartography of his face was cruel. and the words that he used were callous and calculated and empty. Across his brow, in every crease and every crater, was a different woman's poetry, their silence and raging words longing for listening ears. Their stories made out to be confessions. Big eyes now squinting in dimly lit rooms, reading articles and court cases and tweets, reels of lyrics relating songs to life about their mothers and their sisters and their friends. Gory details become white noise in their homes. Static becomes an emotion. Heart beats fast as wind hits cheek. Repetition of words, follow the lines, the river will lead you home. 1, show skin. 2, be loud. 3, emotions aren't evil. 4, assertiveness is important. 5, we shouldn't have to tell them to stop. It is not our job to tell men not to touch, not to harass, not to grope, not to shame, and not to rape women. In this fire, it engulfed all, yet it can't scorch the sea. And as I follow the river into the waves, it washes away with driftwood and tears of millions. The cartography of space gave justice to the sea, but the cartography of our bodies grew, and that is why it's called Me Too.